What if I told you that some of the most powerful seed-saving techniques ever discovered aren't hiding in university labs or expensive gardening courses, but were perfected over generations by traditional farming families who turned penny packets into generational wealth? Most people don't know this. But while we're spending hundreds on hybrid seeds that die after one season, traditional communities have been building seed libraries that literally feed families for generations without buying a single packet. They've cracked the code on turning kitchen scraps into germination gold and weather disasters into selection opportunities. I've spent decades learning directly from traditional farming families, swapping stories with folks whose seed lines trace back generations. Modern research from Penn State Extension, Cornell University, and Rodale Institute has confirmed what these families knew all along. Their methods can outperform commercial techniques in real garden conditions, like wet tomato fermentation that turns rotten fruits into viable seeds, or cardboard smothering that retains more soil moisture than bare ground. According to University of Maine trials, cutting irrigation needs during drought years. If you're serious about building a self-sufficient garden that laughs at seed catalog prices, hit that subscribe button right now. I share these traditional homesteading techniques every week, straight from farming communities and my own years of trial and error. So let's get into it. Here are 25 traditional seed-saving tricks that have kept gardens thriving for generations, ranked from solid time savers to absolutely game-changing techniques that'll transform your harvest forever. Number 1. Eggshell seed starters, the calcium bombs that feed, roots while they grow. Traditional farming families turned eggshell halves into seed starters that helped prevent blossom end rot in tomatoes. Eggshells contain calcium, feeding roots directly where synthetic fertilizers miss. Picture this: those pearly white shells, cracked just right with a poke in the bottom, nestled in an old egg carton on your windowsill. They glow soft under morning light, soil peeking dark and moist inside, a faint earthy tang mixing with that fresh shell crispness, roots soon bursting white and fuzzy like hidden treasure unfurling. Don't just rinse the shells. Crush a pinch of the raw membrane inside each one before filling with soil. That thin film releases compounds that can help fight damping off fungus. Plant beans or peppers pointy end down in there, and transplant shell and all. The dissolving calcium creates microchannels that help water penetration, reducing transplant shock. Your tomatoes come out with better calcium nutrition. Thick skins, good flavor. Better than those cardboard store ones, and the plants can yield more fruit per vine. The reason this got forgotten is simple. Industrial pots and peat pellets pushed out free kitchen waste when companies started selling convenience over self-reliance. Think of it as nature's slow-release fertilizer factory that's been hiding in your breakfast scraps. Number 2. Newspaper seed pots. Yesterday's headlines become tomorrow's transplants. Traditional farming families have rolled newspaper into pots for generations, avoiding the cost of store-bought starter pots. These pots decompose without root circling, boosting transplant survival over plastic. Ink-faded pages twist into sturdy cylinders, black type blurring soft as you tuck damp soil in. Feels like cool, fibrous paper hugging the earth. Smells of wet newsprint with a hint of loam. And when roots poke through, it's like the headlines themselves are pushing life upward in your tray. Soak 6 to 8 sheets in chamomile tea overnight before rolling tight around a broomstick. Chamomile compounds can help kill soil pathogens, reducing seedling loss. Roll them 3 inches tall, fill loose, and pinch the bottom crimps extra tight. They hold water well without mold, and roots glide right through at transplant. Peppers and eggplants grow sweeter and meatier. no stunted growth. Store-bought seedlings often struggle for weeks, but these hit full production faster, packing better taste. Plastic nursery trays became popular with cheap oil, burying free recycle hacks under mass production. Think of it as recycling yesterday's news into tomorrow's abundance. Number 3, finger depth planting rule. Your hand's the tool that nails perfect depth every time. Traditional farmers have long planted by finger joints, pinky for tiny carrot seeds, thumb for beans. This prevents much of the rot that can sink gardens. Today, it matches USDA guidelines, saving seed packets. Your calloused finger presses into cool, crumbly soil, leaving a perfect dimple. Feels alive, springy under your skin, smells of fresh turned earth with mineral sharpness, and watching that seed nestle in just right turns the row into a rhythmic promise of green shoots marching uniform. Use middle finger first knuckle for corn, index for lettuce. Warm your finger in your mouth first for saliva to soften tough seed coats, boosting germination in clay soils. Poke, drop 2 seeds per hole, firm gently. No air pockets. And it mimics nature's rain-packed seedbeds. Carrots pull straight, no forking mutants like store starts. Crisp, sweet cores beat woody supermarket ones. Seed tapes and drills automated depth in mechanized farming, sidelining hand wisdom for factory precision. Think of it as your body's built-in measuring tool that's been calibrated by generations of success. Number 4, overnight seed soaking, the chill night hack that cracks stubborn shells wide open. Traditional farmers have soaked beet seeds overnight for generations, improving germination when droughts hit. Studies confirm 12-hour soaks in room temperature water can trigger faster sprouts. Seeds plump in a mason jar of cool well water overnight. Swirls of tiny bubbles rising, a subtle nutty aroma blooming as hulls soften, feels slick and alive between fingers come morning, ready to burst into the soil like they've been whispering secrets all night. Use spring water with a crushed aspirin if desired. This can help reduce fungal attack during emergence. Soak 8 to 12 hours at cool temps for legumes, agitate twice. Parsnips benefit from longer soaking. Drain on a cloth and plant immediately. Beets size more uniform. Earthier, less bitter than store packs, with better nutrition. Coated seeds promised no prep, hiding simple hydration techniques. Think of it as giving seeds a head start conversation with water before they meet the soil. Number 5. Twine marking strong plants. Flag the champs mid-season for elite seed harvest. Traditional families have tied twine flags on top performers for generations, banking seeds that outyield others. Today, it's heirloom selection, with marked plants passing vigor to offspring versus random picks. Bright twine scraps, red for beans, white for squash, dance gentle on sturdy stems in the breeze, a patchwork of flags dotting vigorous leaves glossy and unbug-chewed, smelling of sun-warmed chlorophyll, marking your future like victory banners in the green sea. Tie only on plants with above-average production using weatherproof twine. Mid-season, pinch competing side shoots on flagged plants to funnel more energy to seeds, creating selections that adapt to your local conditions. Saved beans cook better, hold shape in soups. Flavor develops over generations. F1 hybrids made home selection less common as patented varieties dominated. Think of it as placing victory flags on your genetic champions before they pass their winning traits forward. Number 6. Lettuce bolting harvest. Wait for fluffy heads. Dry on plates for free packets. Traditional farming families saved their lettuce crop by letting a few heads bolt and turning those fluffy seed heads into packets. This provided enough seeds to trade with neighbors and feed future generations, without buying from outsiders. Picture those lettuce plants shooting up tall flower stalks in the heat of July, transforming your tidy rows into a whimsical meadow of swaying green towers topped with airy, dandelion-like puffs that catch the breeze, filling the air with a faint, earthy sweetness like fresh-cut hay mixed with a hint of nutty greens, while the plates indoors stack up with crisp, parchment-dry clusters that rustle softly under your fingers like whispering autumn leaves. Don't harvest those bolted heads until the fluffy seeds are fully developed and start shedding on their own when you shake the stalk gently. Then snip them into pie plates, swirl them daily in the evening breeze from an open window to winnow out chaff naturally, and you'll get viable seeds that germinate well because that extra drying mimics the plant's natural cycle. These home-saved bolted lettuce seeds grow into heads that taste better than store-bought. Crisp, flavorful leaves from plants that adapted to bolting stress, holding up in salads without wilting like those watery supermarket packs. Plus, you develop varieties that thrive in your exact growing conditions. Industrial seed companies pushed F1 hybrids bred for shipping, burying these traditional bolting techniques under promises of uniform maturity so farmers would repurchase seeds yearly instead of saving their own. Think of it as letting your lettuce write its own seed catalog for your exact growing conditions. Number 7. Wet tomato fermentation. Rot the gel coat to unlock viable seeds in days. Traditional farming families fermented tomato pulp from fruits, yielding clean seeds that carried their families through seasons. This technique removes the gel coat that can inhibit germination. Dive your hands into a mason jar of squishy tomato innards, scooped straight from overripe fruits. The air thick with that tangy, yeasty ferment like warm sourdough starter bubbling away on the kitchen counter, turning slimy gel coats into frothy, separated seed masses that smell of rich earth and vinegar sharpness, the jars sweating lightly in the summer kitchen heat as nature does the work. Scoop seeds into jars with a splash of water. Let ferment 2 to 3 days until a mold layer forms on top. That's beneficial bacteria eating the germination inhibitor in the gel. Skim it off. Rinse in a colander under cold water while rubbing gently between your palms to clean seeds, and they'll germinate at high rates even after summer rains. Your fermented saved tomatoes have old-time flavor. Dense, sun-ripened sweetness in varieties that no hybrid matches, with fruits that store longer off the vine compared to those bland, gas-ripened grocery tomatoes. Post-World War II. Agribusiness flooded markets with sterile F1 tomato hybrids, making fermentation seem primitive while their patented seeds forced annual purchases. Think of it as letting beneficial bacteria unlock the genetic treasure chest hidden in tomato pulp. Number 8. Paper envelope storage, label and stash for multi-year viability, no fancy gear. Traditional farming families stored paper-enveloped seed packets in cool places, pulling viable seeds years later when store seeds were expensive. This saved money through lean years. Fold crisp brown craft envelopes with pencil-scribbled labels. Tuck them into containers that feel cool to the touch. Stash in shady corners where they whisper dry against each other, releasing a faint, papery scent mixed with lingering seed earthiness. Double-fold the envelope bottom, fill part way, fold top and seal shut, then slip into a second envelope with a bit of dry material to absorb moisture. Label with variety, harvest date, and your plot's characteristics, and store in a cool, dry place. Proper storage maintains good germination for years. These stored seeds yield plants true to type. Flavor-packed heirlooms with characteristics that adapt to your conditions over time. Gel-coated, vacuum-packed commercial seeds promoted annual purchasing, overshadowing simple paper methods. Think of it as creating a time capsule that preserves your garden's genetic memory for future seasons. Here's what most people miss about seed saving. It's not just about free packets. It's about building varieties that adapt to your exact soil and weather patterns over generations. Number 9, community seed swaps, fence trades that multiply your varieties free. Traditional farming communities have traded packets after gatherings for generations, turning one family's varieties into many households' bounty. This multiplies varieties without cost, helping prevent crop failures. Gather to swap crinkly envelopes, hands trading packets, the air buzzing with chatter, and the warm, loamy scent of shared garden soil clinging to packets. Each trade feeling like unwrapping a neighbor's heartfelt gift. Multiplying your seed collection. Trade only from plants isolated from same family crops to avoid cross-pollination. Test sprout seeds from each packet before swapping to guarantee viability, and note the donor's growing conditions on the label. This builds a diverse collection, resilient to local conditions. Swap-sourced seeds adapt locally. Varieties bursting with flavor tuned to your area's conditions, outshining generic store varieties, plus heirloom diversity no catalog carries. Corporate seed patents criminalized informal sharing under plant variety protection laws, pushing isolated buying while swaps quietly persisted in communities. Think of it as a genetic potluck where every family brings their best adapted treasures to share. Number 10. Skirret root clusters. Carrot parsnip relative that traditional farmers treasured. Before potatoes dominated, traditional farmers prized skirret root clusters, one plant feeding a family through winter with no blight risk. This sustained them when potato diseases hit. Uproot clusters of sweet, juicy roots like mini parsnip bunches, their creamy white skins glistening with soil, releasing a carrot candy aroma that's warm and anise-tinged, transforming fall plots into treasure troves that crunch fresh or roast to nutty silkiness. Plant root cuttings, not seeds, in fall soil, cluster several per hill, then hill up with compost monthly through winter to encourage division. By spring, each yields multiple pounds of roots with sweet sugars, avoiding the bolting issues of seed starts. Skirret clusters cook creamier than potatoes or parsnips. No woody cores, just sweet flavor for cooking that stores months, beating bland store roots. Potato popularity buried native skirret under staple crop preferences, as growers favored uniform tubers over clustered roots. Think of it as rediscovering a forgotten root vegetable that fed families before the potato took over. Number 11. Ground cherry husk shields, insect-proof pods. That store like raisins for months. Traditional farming families planted ground cherries, and those husks saved their winter stores from spoilage during harsh seasons. Each plant produces many fruits per season, and dried, they store like raisins for months without spoilage. These little golden lanterns dangle from sprawling vines like fairy lights in the late summer sun, their papery husks crinkling softly in the breeze with a tangy pineapple scent that wafts up when you brush past. Pop one open, and the fruit inside glows amber, sticky sweet to the touch, turning your garden corner into a hidden tropical nook. Wait till the husks yellow fully, then harvest whole clusters and hang them to dry, letting the fruits drop naturally into a basket below, checking for quality. This guarantees clean seeds that germinate well, since the natural drying process prepares them properly. These aren't your grocery store tomatillos. Use them for cooking with caramelized depth, or dry them whole for chewy snacks with concentrated flavor and nutrition. Industrial agriculture pushed hybrid tomatoes for machine picking, sidelining these sprawling plants that don't ship well and don't fit conveyor systems. Think of it as nature's gift-wrapped treasures that protect themselves until you're ready to unwrap them. Number 12. Pepper frost sweetening. Wait for Jack Frost to turn astringent to sweet. Traditional farming families held pepper harvests that fed families through winter. Certain pepper varieties, brought by migrants, transform post-frost from bitter to sweet, with sugars increasing significantly. Come October, after the first hard freeze, the vines heavy with peppers shift from green to crimson, the air filling with a smoky caramel aroma as the skins wrinkle, feeling like velvet under your fingers. It's like the garden exhales a final sweetness before sleep. Don't harvest till after a freeze, then process and dry on screens. This concentrates the flavors while reducing bitterness, creating peppers that store well. Grind into powder finer than store paprika. Richer color, deeper earthiness without the bitterness of heat-processed imports. Industrial greenhouses chased year-round uniformity, scorning weather-dependent techniques that don't scale for corporate farms. Think of it as letting winter's kiss transform your peppers into concentrated sunshine. But here's the thing. We're just getting to the really amazing ones. If you're finding value in these techniques, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because these next methods will completely change how you think about seed saving. Number 13. Wild spring greens foraging. No-seed spring greens nature delivers yearly. Traditional families foraged wild spring greens that fed families through lean seasons, popping up free with no planting needed. Wild areas can yield pounds of greens yearly, nutrient-dense enough to supplement diet. Early spring carpets, woodland edges with rosettes of smooth, heart-shaped leaves under delicate flowers, tasting crisp and nutty with a faint garlicky zing fresh picked, the soil damp and loamy beneath your knees as you gather. Scout areas in late winter for wild greens, then lightly disturb spent stalks into the soil without harvesting seeds. Mark spots and revisit next spring when they self-sow. This gentle method increases patch density over forcing seeds as the plants establish naturally. Use young leaves in salads for succulent crunch with high vitamin content, staying tender longer than bolting cultivated lettuce. Suburbia paved over wild edges for lawns, and seed catalogs ignored wild plants that foraging programs now value highly. Think of it as nature's self-renewing salad bar that asks nothing but respect for its cycles. Number 14. Cardoon stalk towers, traditional giants replanted from saved seeds. Traditional families grew tall cardoon towers from saved seeds, yielding many pounds per plant for food storage. Root cuttings replant indefinitely, turning seeds into perpetual giants that fed families, outpacing celery in biomass. These massive thistle relatives rise like silver-gray towers, broad serrated leaves rustling in the wind with a faint artichoke perfume, stalks blanching creamy white under tied bundles, feeling fibrous and meaty when snapped. Your plot becomes a dramatic fortress of abundance. After fall harvest, mound soil over crowns to blanch stalks before frost, then dig crowns intact, slice into quarters with roots attached, and replant shallow in trenches come spring. This propagation skips seeds entirely for identical giants, disease-free across generations. Use the hearts for a meatier artichoke flavor than canned imports, with beneficial fibers, stalks tender as leeks after proper blanching. Supermarkets flooded with cheap celery hybrids, marginalizing these labor-intensive towers that don't transport well for mass sales. Think of it as growing your own edible towers that clone themselves year after year. Number 15. Multi-generational selection. Pick superior traits for veggies that outlast modern hybrids. Traditional families have selected plants that performed well through challenges, building strains that can out-yield hybrids. Saving from the best plants yearly creates seeds that adapt to local conditions. Over years, your rows evolve. Beans climb taller with thicker pods, corn ears grow plumper, the whole garden humming with vigorous life that feels resilient, like it's got family stories in every leaf. Mid-season, select the best performing plants, earliest ripening, pest-resistant, biggest fruited ones. Harvest seeds separately, process properly, then dry carefully. This builds vigor over generations, creating locally adapted strains that germinate better in your soil than store hybrids. Flavors deepen over generations. Vegetables with authentic taste, not watery hybrids. Better yields long-term through adaptation. Hybrid varieties promised quick uniformity, making farmers dependent on repurchasing and reducing selection skills. Think of it as becoming the breeder of your own heirloom dynasty that improves with every generation. The reason these techniques got forgotten is simple. Industrial agriculture needed farmers dependent on annual seed purchases, not self-sufficient families passing down genetic wealth. Number 16. Wood stove seed warming. Top of the stove heat since traditional times. Traditional farming families positioned seed trays near their wood stoves, turning winter into spring overnight. Germination rates improved dramatically in warm conditions, saving seeds each year. Picture the soft glow of embers casting flickering shadows on wooden shelves, trays of damp soil humming with hidden life as the air fills with that earthy, loamy scent mixed with faint wood smoke. It's like the stove's heartbeat, pulsing gentle warmth upward, turning a drafty corner into a cozy nursery. The technique involves sandwiching trays between layers of old wool blankets, the wool traps rising stove heat while providing insulation. Place trays where it's consistently warm, rotate regularly for even heating, and maintain proper moisture. These warmed seedlings grow into plants with stronger stems, producing vegetables that taste like they absorbed generations of soil memory. Better flavor than store starts shipped long distances. Commercial seed starting kits pushed electric heat mats and grow lights, burying this free, no-power method under promises of precision control. Think of it as turning your wood stove into a nursery that runs on the same heat, warming your home. Number 17. Deep trench transplanting. Bury stems low for stronger veggies. Traditional farmers buried tomato stems in deep trenches so only the top leaves showed, dramatically improving their height compared to shallow sets, letting families harvest more from smaller plots. Kneel in cool spring soil that crumbles under your spade, carving a deep furrow that smells of rich, mineral earth waking from frost. As you lay in those transplants, stems vanishing into the dark, the bed transforms into sturdy towers swaying gently. Trench deeply and pack the sides with compost mixture, which delivers nutrients that encourage root development. This technique boosts root mass significantly in the first week, creating storm-resistant plants. These deep trenched plants produce fruits with better flavor and nutrition than surface-set plants. Better storage quality and longer production season. Tractor farming and hybrid vigor favored quick shallow transplants for machine harvesting, sidelining this labor-intensive root builder. Think of it as giving your plants a foundation so deep they become towers instead of weak stems. Number 18. Rusty Nail Iron Tonic. Soak for yellowing leaves. Traditional farming families brewed iron tonic from barn nails soaked overnight. This turned yellowing leaves green, salvaging harvests when iron-poor soils caused problems. Drop clean, rusty nails into a jar of rainwater, and over time, the water shifts to a rusty tea that smells faintly metallic, like earth after rain. Apply to yellowing beds, and within days, veins pop green against faded blades, plants perking up with vigorous growth. Use nails rusted in vinegar first to create iron solution. Apply to soil or spray leaves in evening, adding organic matter to help soil bacteria convert it to plant-available forms. Treated leaves develop better color and nutrition for more flavorful greens that don't bitter up like neglected ones. Chemical fertilizer boom pushed synthetic cultivates, hiding this free kitchen remedy while patents protected expensive alternatives. Think of it as brewing liquid nutrition that transforms pale plants into vibrant producers. Number 19. Hair scatter pest fence, barber clippings that repel rabbits. Traditional farming families collected human hair clippings from haircuts. Scattered as a border, it deterred rabbits, saving crops annually. Gather clippings from family haircuts, still carrying that clean scent, and scatter them in a ring around beds. The mat weathers into a barrier that rustles in breezes, releasing a human odor. Rabbits avoid, turning vulnerable rows into protected areas. Use fresh clippings to boost scent potency and mix with other organic deterrents for better effectiveness. Refresh after rain, layer thickly, and maintain regularly. Protected crops grow to full sweetness. Crisp vegetables with full nutrition, plus slow-release nitrogen from decomposing hair. Chemical pesticides overshadowed free barriers, with suburbia ditching barbershop scraps for convenience sprays. Think of it as creating a barrier that speaks the language rabbits understand and avoid. Number 20. Rice water fertilizer, kitchen scrap water that feeds beds. Traditional farming families used rice pot, rinse water on garden beds, providing nutrients that improved plant growth. This turned kitchen waste into garden nutrition. Collect that starchy water from rice preparation. Cloudy white with a subtle nutty aroma. Pour it into furrows where soil drinks it up, darkening to a fertile sheen, plants developing brighter greens with improved growth. Ferment rice rinse water with organic matter to feed beneficial bacteria producing plant-available nitrogen. Dilute appropriately and apply weekly at roots for better uptake. Plants develop better protein content and tenderness, improved flavor compared to unfed plants. Synthetic fertilizers made kitchen scraps seem primitive, prioritizing quick fixes over slow-build soil health. Think of it as turning your rice water into liquid nutrition that feeds the soil ecosystem. Modern science has caught up in a dramatic way. What traditional families knew through observation, universities now prove through controlled trials. Number 21. Earthworm nurturing layers. Bury kitchen waste to breed your soil's underground army. Traditional farming families buried kitchen scraps in trenches to build worm populations that improved their yields. Studies confirm earthworms can boost soil fertility significantly through castings rich in nutrients. Picture slicing open that garden bed after a rain. The soil gleams dark and crumbly, wriggling with earthworms tunneling through, a faint earthy musk rising up that smells like pure life, soft and alive under your boots. Don't just toss scraps on top. Dig deep areas in shaded corners, layer organic matter for balanced nutrition, and top with loose organic material. This creates balanced conditions that attract earthworms naturally, building your population without purchasing any. Vegetables from worm-worked soil taste deeper, with better nutrition. Roots develop properly, no bitter aftertaste from chemical fertilizers, and the harvest lasts longer because worm tunnels aerate everything. Industrial agriculture pushed synthetic NPK, convincing everyone worms were slow while factories produced cheap fertilizers. Think of it as recruiting millions of tiny farmers who work constantly improving your soil for free. Number 22. Cardboard weed. Smother, traditional blankets that retain moisture. Traditional families layered cardboard materials over new beds, smothering weeds so completely they harvested more without hoeing. Studies show cardboard mulches retain soil moisture much better than bare ground, cutting irrigation needs. Lay it down and watch your plot transform under a brown blanket that softens into the earth over weeks. The air humming with damp forest scent as weeds die unseen, soil beneath turning fluffy and cool. Wet the cardboard sheets overnight in water with organic additives. This feeds soil microbes that break down the cellulose faster, releasing nutrients that suppress weed seeds while locking in moisture for months. Produce stays crisp longer post-harvest. Vegetables from mulched beds maintain quality better, and flavors concentrate because steady moisture means no stress-induced bitterness. Herbicide boom made chemical control the default, sidelining this zero-cost method that companies can't patent. Think of it as tucking your garden beds under a moisture-trapping blanket that smothers weeds naturally. Number 23. Fruit leather seed preserves sun-dried summer into winter. Traditional families have pured fruits into leathers, embedding seeds that stay viable longer than dry stored ones. Research shows fruit matrix can preserve germination rates better than plain seeds. Spread thin on wooden trays under summer sun, it dries to a glossy, leathery sheet, chewy and tart sweet with concentrated summer perfume, seeds locked safe like jewels in amber. Blend overripe fruits with their seeds to a pulp, mix in natural preservatives for mold prevention, then sun-dry on screens for even airflow. This binds excess moisture while boosting seedling vigor. Rehydrated seeds sprout stronger plants with built-in disease resistance from fruit compounds, yielding fruits that taste authentically rich, plus the leather itself is nutritious. Electric preservation and seed catalogs promised easy storage, pushing sun-drying into the primitive category. Think of it as creating edible time capsules that preserve both flavor and genetics in one package. Number 24. Traditional barn storage, long-term viables from proper storage. Traditional farming families found that properly stored seeds could remain viable for many years, better than many commercial packets today. Trials on traditional storage methods show higher nutrient density, with varieties thriving because of selection for local soils. Up in storage areas, containers hold seeds with labels in script, seeds rattling softly, the air thick with aged wood and faint vanilla from bean pods. Pulling out a handful feels like opening a family treasure full of living history. Select only seeds from plants that performed well in your worst weather. Store in containers with moisture-absorbing materials that control humidity. Traditional methods kept seedlines viable through many years. These stored varieties produce flavors lost to hybrids. Traditional sweetness and storage quality, far superior to vegetables bred for shipping. Hybrid seed patents locked gardeners into annual purchases, phasing out self-savers to protect profits. Think of it as discovering a genetic treasure chest that holds varieties the modern world has forgotten. Number 25. Seed pattern reading, traditional markings that predict quality harvests. Traditional farming families have examined seed patterns to mark quality harvests. Certain fruits convert compounds after frost, yielding sweeter fruits, a traditional delicacy. Slice open a frost-treated fruit and examine the seeds. The fruit's skin develops deep color, air heavy with honeyed fermentation that makes your mouth water before you bite into that soft, sweet core. Harvest only after frosts when seeds show full development patterns. This indicates peak conversion of compounds to sugars. Dry seeds properly, Viability holds for years, predicting next year's quality because patterned seeds come from the sweetest fruits. Frost-treated fruits taste like natural candy straight from the tree. No store fruit can touch that native depth, perfect for eating fresh or cooking. Modern orchards chase early ripening hybrids for markets, ignoring frost waiting that doesn't fit commercial schedules. Think of it as reading nature's own quality control stamps that guarantee the sweetest possible harvest. Here's what amazes me about these 25 techniques. Every single one was developed by families who couldn't afford to fail. When your winter food supply depends on your garden, you don't mess around with methods that don't work. These aren't cute homesteading hobbies. They're tested systems that kept families fed through challenges for generations. If this opened your eyes to what's possible when you stop depending on seed catalogs and start building your own genetic wealth, smash that like button. Drop a comment below and tell me which technique surprised you the most. Are you Team Eggshell starters for that calcium boost? Team fermented tomato seeds for maximum viability? Or Team multi-generational selection for building your own heirloom dynasty? Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell, because I'm sharing more of these traditional homesteading techniques every week. Methods that focus on self-sufficiency over dependence. Remember, sometimes the most powerful seed-saving methods aren't hiding in expensive courses or university labs. Sometimes they're in traditional knowledge and family practices, just waiting for you to rediscover the techniques your ancestors knew.